So we are in week 2 of this upper lower push-pull legs program that I just recently started. And today is our pull day for the week. Last week I went pretty hard on pull day specifically for back focus. And while today I'm still going to be focusing primarily on my back, I wanted to add in some extra exercises that are primarily pull focused, like the cable upright row, just because with my shoulders, sometimes I hit them specifically on push day or that upper body day, but sometimes I don't have enough energy to really focus and push it on those exercises. So that's why I wanted to add it in today. So first I'm going to be starting with some pull downs. I'm a big fan of pull downs. I love using them primarily at the beginning of my workout. It kind of helps me get in the groove, helps me gain a good mind-muscle connection with my lats and my arms. So today I'm actually going to be using what's known as a mag bar. It just allows me to get a little bit of a different grip than a standard straight pull-down bar. And I'm going to be using a supinated grip in particular, just for a little bit of variation. I do pull downs probably twice a week, every week, so I like to switch up my grip just to hit my musculature from a different angle, to make sure that all the muscle fibers that are being targeted during that pull down are being maximally activated at least once throughout the week. From there, I'm going to be moving into pull-ups with a neutral grip. I recently installed neutral grip pull-up into actually my floor joist here. I've been using a standard straight bar that I do with pronated grip and supinated grip, and now that I have that neutral grip, I just want to use that more often. I find that when I'm doing pull-ups with a neutral grip, it allows me to really extend and get a full absolute stretch in my lats. It just feels really good, and I feel really strong when I'm coming out of that. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. I'm probably going to be adding some resistance while I'm doing those pull-ups. We'll see how that goes depending on my level of fatigue. From there, I'm going to move on to, I'm actually going to be using those jammer arms again that you probably saw in previous videos where I was using them for pressing. I'm going to be using it for a bent over row variation. Sometimes I like to do it with a bar. I'm not a huge fan of the bent over row, primarily just because it's really difficult. And I find sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me to specifically isolate my lats and rhomboids when I'm doing a bent over row, just because I usually have to go a little bit heavier, so it's difficult for me to stay in that perpendicular position or actually parallel position where my torso is parallel with the ground, just because of low back injuries that I've had in the past, and because as I'm going through the exercise, my low back becomes really fatigued and it becomes difficult to then connect with the target muscle groups. When I'm using the jammer arms, that allows me to more so focus on the target muscle group. And for you, that means, focusing on a machine maybe, but it's really based on feel. If you want to use a barbell, go for it. Sometimes I do too, especially if I really want to push my limits in terms of the amount of resistance I'm using. But today we're doing more of an accessory sort of pull day, so I'm going to use those jammer arms to really help target, my lats, my rhomboids, and even a little bit of rear delt on that. From there, I'm moving into the cable upright row. I like using a cable. It helps, shoulder joints are pretty delicate, mine in particular. I find that when I'm using a cable, it allows me to, again, create a really good mind-muscle connection with my delts, and it allows me to really lock in my form, not only for safety, but ensuring that I'm hitting the muscle fibers that I want to hit. After that, I'm going to move into biceps. The only reason I'm doing that today is because I haven't hit biceps yet this week, and it is a priority for me. I do like having biceps, and I want to grow them as much as I can. A lot of people put them on back day. There's nothing wrong with that. I like it a little bit because throughout the various movements that I'm doing today, like the supinated grip pull downs and the neutral grip pull-ups, I'm going to fatigue my biceps a little bit. So by the time that I get to doing bicep movements, those fibers are going to be a little bit more fatigued. So I'm going to reach a level of fatigue that produces an adaptation a little bit faster, and I can do so with a little bit less resistance. Just kind of reducing a little bit of the wear and tear that I put on my body. Curl bar curls I'm going to use because I really like the way that the grip is. It allows me to go a little bit heavier if I want to, but it also allows me to, again, have a great mind-muscle connection. From there, I'm going to move on to incline dumbbell curls. I love incline dumbbell curls. It allows me to get such a humongous stretch on the bicep, and I can do so with a relatively low amount of resistance. And by the time I'm done with it, I'm usually super pumped, and the following days I do tend to have quite a bit of soreness. Now, that soreness is not necessarily a requirement for growth, but as I've mentioned before, soreness sometimes, especially for exercises that you do often, soreness is a pretty good indicator that you not only hit the target muscle group, but you also did so in a way that stressed it enough to promote an adaptation in the future. And in this case, for me, that's increasing bicep size and strength. So let's get after it. So something you probably noticed there while I was doing those pull-ups, I am getting a full stretch every repetition. Every rep I try and make the same as the first one. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when I see people doing pull-ups and they're going like halfway down or 3/4 of the way down. You're literally missing out on probably the most important portion of that exercise, which is that full lengthened stretch position. When you're doing pull-ups, go all the way down. Doesn't matter if you can only get one, doesn't matter if you can get 10. Make those repetitions the same every time. Focus on the stretch. Try and produce force to pull through the rep. And if you can't do it, whatever. A great way you can do it is try and do a full rep where you're getting your chin above the bar. If you can't go any further than that, try and set new levels. Try and get where your eyes are now level with the bar. And then try and get where your arms are 90 degrees. Like, go as far as you can, but don't skimp out on the most important part, because if you're dropping down halfway and busting out reps, are you really doing pull-ups and are you really getting those reps? Focus on the form.